I remember the first poster I saw. It was taped to a lamppost. The sky was gray and low. The air held a chill that promised winter. Leaves lay on the sidewalk, wet, brown. They stuck to the pavement like sad little warnings. The poster had a photo of a child. The child's eyes looked small and far away. They were not smiling. Not really. The paper was wet at the corners. Rain had made the ink run just a little. It looked like the poster was crying. The date on the poster was today. But this was an old poster, maybe from a year ago, or the year before that. You could tell by the yellowed paper. Sunlight had bleached the child's face into a pale memory. The wind made the edges of the paper lift and fall. It made a soft, rustling sound, like a secret being told to the empty street. I stood there for a long time. I just looked at the child's face. The town was called Gray Hollow. It was not a big place. One main street and a handful of side roads. People knew each other's names. They knew who baked the best bread. They knew whose dog barked at night. In autumn, the hills turned red and gold. People stocked up on firewood. Kids ran with plastic pumpkins on Halloween night. They wore masks and laughed in the dark. But in recent years, something else came with the holiday. Something dark. It started quietly. One child went missing. Then, the next year, another. It was always on Halloween. People whispered, in the grocery store, at the post office. They blamed the woods, strangers, the cold, the fog, the coming dark of winter. The posters started to form a trail. It was not planned. It just happened. A new poster would go up where a child was last seen. Schoolyard, church, pumpkin patch. The pumpkins sat round and orange, like silent, watchful heads. You could follow the trail with your eyes. You could walk it with your feet. It led you through the town like a map of its sorrow. Each had the same neat photo, the same sad words. New posters were crisp and bright, hopeful. The older ones were almost white from sun and rain. You could see the hope in the newer posters, the belief this child would be found. The older posters spoke of a hope that had faded. Some people walked the path in silence, touching the paper faces, reading the names aloud. The trail always ended at the gate of the old, abandoned mill. No one ever went past the gate. One father followed the posters. His name was Eli James. He worked at the town bakery, hands dusted with flour, smelling of sugar and warm bread. He loved his son, Sam. Sam was a quiet boy. He watched the moon, collected small things, shiny pebbles, colorful leaves, a single blue feather. He liked to hide behind the curtains and jump out with a soft boo, a smile like a secret. On Halloween, he vanished, dressed as a small ghost. He was holding his mother's hand one moment. Then he was gone. There was no sound, no cry, just a sudden emptiness. Eli and his wife called until their voices were raw. Only the wind answered. Only the leaves. Eli found the first poster near their house, Sam's shy, half-smile. He stood a long time, pressing his hand to his son's face until the cold paper grew warm. Then he walked, unsure where, only that he had to follow the trail. The town looked so safe, but it wasn't. The safety was just a mask. At Willow and Main, another poster. A girl in a bright red coat, missing 5 years. Leaves clung to the dried glue. Eli peeled one away and kept walking. He walked toward the edge of town. The darkness between lights was deep and heavy. His own boots crunching and the wind was always there, a slow, deep sigh. The old mill was a dark shape against the gray sky, its windows blind and empty. It hadn't ground flour in 50 years. People said it was cold inside, even in summer. At the rusted gate, the wind made it creak, like an old bone groaning. Other parents waited, faces pale. They held their own posters and small, weak lights. No one spoke much. Grief thickened the silence. They nodded to Eli, and together went into the shadow of the old mill. Inside, their flashlights cut the dark. The air smelled of damp wood and decay. Shadows stretched long, A forgotten shoe, a carved pumpkin smiling under cobwebs. Joy had come here and died. Dust lay like a gray blanket on silent gears. Moonlight painted a sliver on the floor. And there, small footprints. Not boots, not shoes, bare feet. They went where the boards broke away, into darkness. He could not see the bottom. The other parents had been here before. For them, this was the end. Eli's light caught a thread of red yarn, soft from the scarf his wife had knitted for Sam. He took a deep breath and climbed down into the hole. Down into the hole. Below was a narrow tunnel, hard-packed earth and roots. He found small marks, thin and careful, names. Each had a date. October 31st. Everyone. The tunnel opened to a small room open to the night. Moonlight fell on a circle of tiny toys, offerings. A soldier, a one-eyed doll, a shiny pebble he knew, a blue feather. Posters pinned to the earth, smiling faces with eyes full of an ancient sadness.
A thin sound came from the center, like a name called far away. A small voice asked, "Is it time?"
He answered nothing. He waited. The trail led from the mill, through the earth, to the black pond. The pond was still. The moon looked wrong. Sam's toy boat drifted near the bank. He reached for it. The water shivered. A child's whisper rode the wind. "Don't come." He remembered Sam's laugh and stepped forward. The water wanted him. The voices sang an old rhyme. He didn't feel the boat. He felt a hand. Sam rose, smiling, but not his real smile. Eli pulled against the pond's tug. Love stronger than fear. Small dark marks ringed his ankles, like the tunnel names. In the willow, leaves that were not leaves, small hands. Someone shouted, "Run!" By morning, a new poster appeared. Moonlight in a small boy's eyes. The trail would continue.